Hi everyone. So today the plan is just to debunk some conservative graphs because I wanted to get out a quick, short, easy video real quick. Okay, so let's do this. The first one is from Ann Cutler. This girl is kind of like a conservative celebrity. She has 2.2 million followers. So, okay. She says for people under 60, coronavirus is less dangerous than the seasonal flu. Well, let's take a look at this graph, okay? In the 50 to 59 age range, COVID-19 has a death rate of 0.4%. But the flu has a death rate of 0.06% for almost the same age range. So there's not much to debunk here. She's just wrong according to her own graph. But okay, let's keep going. This next one is from Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas. This one's kind of a weirder graph, but okay. It describes the 4 most populous states by the numbers. So, yes, we see their populations. Then for some reason, we have state income tax. So he's highlighted the ones with 0% income tax in yellow. So I guess these are his favorite ones because he's the governor of Texas. And then we have the state budget. But then the rest of the graph is talking about COVID stuff. So that's kind of what I'm going to focus on. Anyway, the mortality rate in California is actually lower than the rate in Florida. And also, I don't know if he made this graph or what, but this is mortality rate, not mortality rate. So it's kind of fair to question everything on this graph a little bit if they can't even spell correctly. But continuing on, what this graph doesn't mention is the population densities. So I'm going to exclude Florida from this because they actually have a pretty high mortality rate. It's comparable to California's. But now just looking at the population density of Texas, we see that they have 105 people per square mile. Now, if we compare that to the population density of California, it has 251 people per square mile, so twice as many. And then, if we compare that to the population density of New York, we see that it has 421 people per square mile. So, it's not really the population that's important, it's the population density. So, New York is way more population dense, even though it has way less people than Texas. Yeah, I don't really know what his point here is with this graph. I guess this isn't a debunking, but just calling him an idiot for making a stupid graph that doesn't really say anything. Yeah, okay, that's about it. This next graph is an absolute classic. Okay, it is from Business Insider. I think it might have originally been from Reuters, but anyway, it's on Business Insider now. It's describing the gun deaths in Florida, and it shows the number of murders committed using firearms in Florida. So we see that the rate is going up. There's more and more deaths, and then it goes down, and then it goes back up. And then and it hits this peak right here when Florida enacts the Stand Your Ground law. And then after that, it plummets downwards, pretty far down. One interesting thing about this graph, which isn't immediately obvious, is that is that normally 0 starts on the bottom, but on this graph, 0 starts at the top. So actually, everything I just said was wrong. When I said the graph was going down, it was actually going up because the whole graph has been flipped upside down for some reason. So if you scroll down in the article, thankfully they have shown a corrected version, which is what the graph should really look like, where after the Stand Your Ground law was enacted, the rate went up. But, it's very misleading. This one is from Fox News. It's not really something that's like debunkable, but I just thought it was interesting. It is saying what would happen if the Bush tax cuts expired. Right now, taxes are at 35%, but if the Bush tax cuts expired, it would skyrocket up to 39.6%. Now, this graph has used the classic technique of truncating the bottom portion of the bars to exaggerate the differences that you see between the values. So 35 is actually not that much less than 39, but it looks like it's like 4 times less in this graph. It's very confusing. The whole point of a graph is to describe something in quantities that are hard for humans to understand in a way that's very easy to understand. But I don't think this has succeeded in that goal. This next one, I don't know how this even happened. It could have been an error. I don't want to say Fox News deliberately did this. But if you look at this graph, which is charting the unemployment rate under President Obama, we see some weird oddities near the end, where November is at 8.6, it looks the exact same as 9.0 in October, which is kind of strange because if we look over here, we see 8.8 being actually lower on the graph than 8.6. I don't know what's going on here. It just kind of doesn't make any sense. But also 9.2 is like almost at the rate of 9.5. It's just a very weird graph. It's possible it was made in like Photoshop or something instead of a real graphing software, but yeah, this is a weird one. This last one is also from Fox. It's another COVID one, and at first glance it looks okay, but things start to get kind of weird when you look at the increments on the graph. So it goes from 30, 60, 90, then 100. So before it was doing jumps of 30, now it's doing jumps of 10. And then it goes back to jumps of 30 again, 130, 160, 190. Then it does a jump of 50 up to 240. And then it goes to 250. And then it goes, it's just insane. I don't know who made this. I don't know how this even happens. I mean, it's possible they didn't know how to count by threes, or yeah, there's literally, it doesn't even look like a graph that could be made in Photoshop. It looks like sort of organized. I don't know how someone does this. I don't know how this happens on accident. But yeah, weird stuff. Anyway, I hope this has been enlightening. I know this is a little bit different than my usual type of video, but I hope everyone enjoyed it.